Rainy season comes around once a year. And if you have a basement and it's constantly backing up with rainwater, usually you need a sump pump, or the sump pump you have is not working. Well, in this particular video here, we're going to replace a sump pump. This customer was having issues with the sump pump backing up and flooding their basement. So I came and checked it out, and of course the pump wasn't working. So what we're going to do here is replace the pump. What they've got going on here, I don't know. It was probably fixed previously with by someone else. But anyway, we're going to change this and make it right. And in most cases, your check valve, which is a backflow device that keeps water from coming back into your system, it only pushes it out and allow it to go one way. We're going to remove this check valve first, and this one happens to be submerged up underwater. That's fine. And just by disconnecting it, we'll be able to pull the whole pump up all together with the pipe and the check valve on it, so that we can bring it out to the surface and have access and work on a new one and put it in. This is the old check valve that was in there. It does seem to be in pretty good shape, and it's still in good shape. It's just older, and while we're at it, we're just going to go ahead and replace that. Now we're going to let it age with the sump pump itself. We'll let the new one age with this new sump pump. You can see I'm giving a demonstration that the little flapper in there goes only one way, so it's going to be facing up and going vertical, so it's only going to allow water to be pushed out and not allow the water to come back down into the sump pit itself, because when that happens, you take a chance of wearing your pump out prematurely, because the water is getting pumped up and constantly coming back in and keeping the pump overworking. So that's the purpose of the check valve itself, to keep the pressure off the pump and the sump pump from filling back up. Okay, I'm just taking this off, but I am gonna put a new one on there. Keep in mind, some pumps have an 1.5-inch outlet, and some have a 1.25-inch outlet. This particular one has a 1.5-inch outlet. So what I just screwed off was a 1.5-inch female adapter, is what we would call it. Here's the new 1.5-inch PVC female adapter and a new piece of pipe. We're just going to primer and glue that together and put it back. And I made the measurement on this exactly the same as the other, and I'm using this. Actually, I went out and bought the same pump. It's called a Little Giant. By getting the same exact pump, it makes it a lot easier. Don't have to do a lot of modification, just match it right up. And rather than pull out my trusty measuring tape, just gonna line them up side by side and cut it to the exact same length. And the particular saw that I'm using, it is a PVC saw. It's designed for cutting PVC pipe. It helps with keeping the cut nice and straight as you can. I know a lot of people, they will use a hacksaw, but it's really hard to keep a hacksaw to go pretty straight. See, that's a lot straighter than it would have been with a hacksaw. And this is the new check valve. Again, a little demonstration of how the flapper inside will only push one way and not go back the other way. And if you look at it real closely, let me show you something here. They have some small little inserts in it. And those inserts are just in case the pipe was 1.25 inches. I would use those inserts, but since we're going back with the 1.5 inches, I don't need the 1.25 inch inserts, so I'm going to pull those out. And in case I haven't showed you yet, the check valves, they do have an arrow on it to show you which way it goes. And the arrow is, what you want is the arrow pointing up, showing the flow of the water going up and being pushed out. Okay, rather than me dipping the water out of here or using a wet vac to get the water out, I just let the water sit in there because I know that once I hook the new sump pump in, I'll just turn it on and it's gonna get it all out of there. And the screwdriver I'm using, it's a multi screwdriver. It has like 6 functions where you can use it as a Phillips screwdriver, flathead, or a socket. And in this case, I'm using it as a socket to tighten the bands. And in the description box below, there will be a link to my how-to plumbing Amazon store. Anything that's in this video that you see and you're interested in purchasing it, you can purchase it there. from the screwdriver to the pump, PVC pipe, or whatever. Okay, now at the beginning of the video, I don't know if you noticed, there were some bricks down at the bottom, and those bricks were down there to support the pump itself, and so I put it back. And also the bricks allow it to have a space up underneath so that the water can be sucked up through the sump pump itself. So if you're going to install a new one and you don't have anything down there, I recommend you put something down there to kind of get the pump a little bit off of the floor of the sump pit. Okay, now that we have that all hooked up, we're going to go ahead and plug it in. Now this pump doesn't stay on all the time. It's set to kick on at a certain depth. And you can see how well the new Little Giant pump works. It's pumping it out immediately, and it's pumping it out and up through the pipe out to the storm drain. And in this particular case, the storm drain is a ditch that they have out there that water is going through. Rainwater, should I say, from the ground rainwater. And you see the holes on the sides, you see the pipes, the water coming in from the sides. That's all the water that's up under a person's house when you do have rain. That's a lot of subsurface water that gets trapped up under the basement itself. And this is why they do use sump pumps, because that's a lot of pressure up under your home. If they didn't have the sump pump, it's a possibility that subsurface water pushing up will crack your cement foundation. And how it works, there's a pipe that goes the perimeter of the basement all the way around. It has a bunch of little holes and rocks, so when that subsurface water builds up, it comes down those pipes and it makes its way to the sump pit here, like you see. So although we're going to pump the water out the sump pit right now, we're still having water coming in from up under the house, and it'll continue to pump until we get it down to a nice level, and then it'll level itself off. So hey, your work is done.